Alright, so I wanted to show off some of my pedal boards that I've been reassembling for a show that I'm going to be doing next month. I was asked by a local to Nashville Nine Inch Nails cover band called Not Your Nails to help them participate in the 30th anniversary of the Downward Spiral album coming out. So I'm going to be playing about 8 songs off of that album with those guys when they do that. And that gave me a good reason to reassemble my pedal boards. So you have seen the HX Stomp, the Plethora, the SY-200, all separately, but this is how I had them configured beforehand. And my setup is a little bit complicated. I have simplified it just a little bit. No simplifier in here though, but kind of working it out in a way that would be used for that. So because Nine Inch Nails requires so many different sounds, I set up a preset on the HX Stomp for each of the different songs that I'll be doing. So Mr. Self-Destruction, Piggy, Heresy, March of the Pigs, Closer, Becoming, Big Man with a Gun, Eraser, and Reptile. And right now, the settings are all pretty much the same. I just copy and pasted one of these to each of them. And let me run through my signal chain, because it, like I said, it's pretty weird. So guitar is going to run into this part of the port right here, and then this cable, which is the very start of the chain, runs to the Plethora. So in this patch, I've got compressor and octaver before the loop. So you see that part right there is where the loop insert happens. So from here, whatever I've got in the first part of the Plethora is going to run up to the Boss SY-200 and run into that. And then from its effects loop, from the effects loop in the SY-200, now I'm going to be running to the HX Stomp, and that's where my drives and all that stuff is. And the reason for that is because I want the SY-200 to be before this as much as possible. I want the compressor and octaver to hit the synth, but not the drives, the amps, anything like that. So within this patch here, I've got the Swedish chainsaw, which is running into a clean amp, and then a 4x12. And then just for this song, I have a metal zone that is in a path all its own that is bypassing the cabs and everything. And I'll probably show that off why I did that at some point. Now this effects loop left right here. This is going to complete the loop that we have going here, because what's going to happen is the effects loop is going to run to the, let's see, yeah, it goes from here into the input of the volume pedal. And the reason that I do that is really weird. So I have the expression pedal over here, which in most cases is controlling the level of the SY-200. So that's getting its signal from the front part of the Plethora without any of this stuff mixed into it. And with this stuff mixed in and going to the volume pedal at this point in the chain, I can drop this down and completely kill my guitar signal, the normal signal with distortions and amps and everything, and then I'm left with just the SY-200. And then from there, I usually keep that on. If I want the synth out, I pull that back. If I want the guitar in, I push that down. If I want both of them out, I push them both down. If I want them both in, then I push them both down. So it's kind of a unique setup, in that way, the way that I've got it there. And it took me a while to figure that out. After that, after the volume, though, we are going to return to this. So I've got the tap tempo, vintage echo, and the reverb that are all set after all of that stuff there. So I can do like volume swells on this, and it's going to catch the echo and the reverb and all of that stuff there. And then from the output of the Plethora, I'm returning to the effects return on the Stomp here. Just doing it in mono for right now. But yeah, that's the bulk of this. So that explains this, and this. However, you might have been looking at this. This is a custom power supply built by Sweetfoot Effects great stuff that they make there. He's not quite as active on Reverb, I think, as he once was. But this is super, super important to this pedal board working right, because I'm able to, instead of having the adapter for this and the adapter for this and then whatever I need for this, I can run two of those things. Started off as the Plethora and the HX Stomp that I could run off of both of these. I'm having trouble finding one of the cables for it, so now I'm using it to power the Plethora and then the SY-200, and then I'm just using a little wall wart type thing to power the HX Stomp. So that covers that part. Oh, the other thing too, these two switches on the top. I've got the switches routed to this MIDI baby right here. And MIDI baby is great. I need to do more of a video on it at some point. But it can send and receive MIDI and send all kinds of commands. So what I've got it doing for this right here is I've got the output for the two switches on the Sweetfoot pedal running to the MIDI baby. And then I'm using the MIDI commands that it can receive through this port right there to have it be foot switch 4 and 5. So that's the HX Stomp, foot switch 4 and 5 that are being routed through here and then come up into the HX Stomp. So this expression pedal is plugged into the expression 1 and 2 port on this, but I have that. But in addition to that, I have the foot switch 4 and 5 right here. So I've got everything. And then this little button right here, if I single tap it, that usually if I have a wah pedal in one of my settings, which I don't right now, that's going to toggle it being on and off. This being on, this being off right there. But what I'm using it for in this case is if I do a long hold on this, and everything that you can do with this is programmable. So this is the way I've got this one custom set up for mine. So I hold down this button and it switches me to foot switch mode. You see there's a quick little flash on this. And then it sends me to that. So the foot switch is up here. I've got this one set to tap tempo, so you see whenever I tap on it, the light flashes blue. I don't have anything that's reading the tempo right now, but if, well, I guess I could do this. Let's go to global settings, and let's see. Maybe is it here? Oops. Let me get back out of that. Okay, so the BPM right there, how it says 132. So if I tap on this, so you can see right there, it's getting slower, or faster. Maxing out at about 240. So the HX Stomp is sending MIDI to the SY-200 and to the Plethora as well, but it's all kind of masterminded through this, and then the tap tempo being on one of these switches right here. Let's see, go back out of that. And both of these switches too, I have them programmed to do a long hold, send you to tuner, which is great. So I love that. Yeah, so that's the MIDI baby, expression, Sweetfoot, power supply, HX Stomp, Plethora X5, SY-200, and the volume pedal. Now, one other thing I should point out too, like I said, I'm doing settings for each of these songs that I'm doing, and I just copy and pasted the first one for right now. The main reason I did that is because of the command center and all the stuff that I wanted it to do with those. So let's see, if I go to command center, right there you can see that I have commands set up for 6 different things. Most of it is matching a board from the Plethora and then matching a setting from the SY-200 as well. But then I can control which foot switches go on and off, mostly with the different snapshots. So rather than having to make all these commands 3 times over for each setting, which is kind of annoying there. Like if we go to the, yeah. So like you have to do it for each snapshot, like set them all up. So what I did for this one was I actually did all of this work in the computer because it made it so much easier than using these little dials and flipping back and forth and everything. So use the computer and HX Edit for the editing that you need to do with this. Then in the Plethora, you do have to make the board, but as far as naming it, you can use the Tone Print app to type it out. That way, that's really how you have to do it. There's no way to change the names of these boards on the board itself. And then with the SY-200, this one is going to be a little bit more involved, so you do have to, there's no way to plug it up to a computer or anything. You have to press menu and exit at the same time, then right. Then you dial in all your things one by one, hit that to execute. There you go, and then it saves all your stuff. So still quite a bit of work to go on this board and getting it ready and everything, but I thought that I would share the way that I've got it set up at this point. So more changes will be happening, and I'll probably document some of that as well, but let's go ahead and wrap it for today. Thank you very much.